What up, what up, what up? It's Ray V. Let's get it.
Call me a lover boy, simp, Libra. It's more than love sick. I got a fever. Feelings overloading. Not to be a diva. Standing 10 toes down. I'm not gonna leave you.
Sad boy quote of the day. There's only one way to truly forget, and it will be to lie. After failure, frustrations, and heartache, I would still be here to try. You made a writer out of me, so I made poetry out of you. We will meet again, not in person, but in everything you and I ever loved and knew. Alright, y'all know what time it is. It's time to decipher that thing. Not a chorus today, just poetry type stuff. Let's split that thing up. There's only one way to truly forget, and it would be to lie. These types of things, heartbreaks, love, grief, they just don't ever truly go away. So the only way to truly forget, would be to lie about it. Just say you did, or act like it doesn't affect you anymore, while it still clearly does. Now you're just suffering in silence rather than out loud, moping around at people, trying to find solace through other people and all that. Feels like I did say this before. Seems like very reminiscent. Seems like a deja vu even, but maybe I'm just on this topic a lot. Or maybe it was another bar for another day type of lyric already, but I for real don't remember. Next line: after failure, frustrations, and heartache, I would still be here to try. Doesn't matter what happened to us, what events transpired. After all this mess and madness, there's still beauty and love inside me. The grief that has nowhere else to go, and yearning to head back to you. So after all that, after all this, I would still be here for you, here to try, always. Next line: you made a writer out of me, so I made poetry out of you. I started to read more, and now I express through pretty words, poetry, songs. Literally made a writer out of me. That's just straightforward. Especially this sad boy quote, very poetic vibes. This whole song that I made, that it's in. So now all I do is make poetry out of you, out of us, out of love, pain, grief, all of it. Next line: we will meet again, not in person, but in everything you and I ever loved or knew. This was definitely another bar for another day. Just did this the other day or 2 days ago, whatever it was. We don't need to physically see each other in order to, for me to see her again. All the actions we did, simple things, washing dishes, cooking, walks, the shows we watched, Pokemon, Marvel, Legos, puzzles, laying around and decompressing for when we get home for that 1 hour. Lulu, my prop, who's not here today, babysitting my niece again. Shout out brother's wife. Brother and the baby, of course. But usually Lulu's my prop in the background. Make her sit there for the attention views. Get you guys to watch. Just kidding, kind of. Hopefully it works. But all of it, man. I see you and everything we did together, everything we loved, everything we knew. All right, though, that F ain't for feels. It's for fantasies, baby. So let's get into our deepest fantasies, baby. Comment section. MVMT asks, what's your take on landing spot versus talent? Do I avoid any receiver that goes to the Jets or Browns? LMAO. Trash answer that I'm going to give you, but it really just depends. It's a lot to take into consideration. The rounds, what round they took them in, what kind of receiver they took. Do they really fit in their offensive scheme? The Browns or the Jets? We all hate the Jets. The Jets stink. All of that. I was saying the other day, but Garrett Wilson is still a good wide receiver, and it shows in his fantasy rankings, his fantasy value. He still has all that value in the world, even though he's playing on the Jets. Jerry Jeudy, on the other hand, that's a yikes. The Browns stink might actually just move me off without knowing anything else, no other context. But I like to look at the schemes more than anything. It's hard to give an answer right now, just super vague like that. No, not as much context, but this was on my first 6 picks video. So the first 6 picks, I was telling them, pretty much no matter what, I just really like these guys. So if one of those top 6 picks goes to the Browns or the Jets, I think they might fall a little bit. One, Tyson, or not Tyson, like Carnell Tate might fall down to, like, instead of the 103 in my eyes, he like 105 or something. It might drop down. They just all three of them switch, but I would still take him pretty much no matter what with those first 6 picks. MT also asked if you got a pick in this range. This was the video 107 to 112. So you got a pick in this range. Do you think trading for a proven value is the move, or trading up to a higher first, or do you trust this range to make it impact long term? I would like to trade these later picks for either, to be honest. The first round is usually a 50% hit rate in Dynasty Rookie Drafts, so moving on these more unsure guys is usually the play. I would work to do that ASAP. Rookie fever may die down in your leagues after the NFL draft. Make those trades. After the NFL draft, I may have a different opinion, but as of right now, I'm not that confident in those later mid to late round, first round picks after the 106. Not as much. All right, we finna continue our SuperFlex Dynasty Rookie Draft picks. The next 6, 201 to 206. If you didn't realize, the NFL draft is next Thursday. I was actually going to make a different video today, but we should definitely try to work through probably 48 rookies before the draft. So at 201, I got Jonah Coleman, running back, Washington. 156 carries, 758 yards, 15 touchdowns. He had 31 receptions and 354 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. It's important to clarify that the 2026 running back class is not elite. We basically have a diamond in the rough, of Jeremiah Love, and the rest of the running backs have a chance at all being plotters and roster cloggers, if we're being honest. Coleman is an early down grinder with efficiency traits. He has a compact build and is capable of high volume and is not a pure explosive playmaker. Ball security is one of his key traits, only having 3 fumbles on 552 career carries. He should have that trust factor immediately out of the gate when he hits the NFL field. This should lead to goal line work, fourth quarter carries, and early down volume. Coleman also keeps his legs churning and runs through arm tackles, all with the functional vision between the tackles. His contact balance and interior running projects well into gap schemes and become, at minimum, an early down grinder. He also has over 500 carries in college, meaning he has a proven workload tolerance and could be a workhorse if the situation arises. He has weaknesses in a limited explosive ceiling, since he's not a breakaway runner and lacks long speed juice. He has questionable receiving upside, not being known as a dynamic pass catcher, definitely capping his PPR ceiling. Coleman will also be scheme and role dependent. He needs a good O-line and a positive game script, being projected as an early down back roll. His ceiling would be a volume-based running back 2 if he lands in a good offense and gets the goal line touches. His floor would be a committee grinder or backup, very replaceable archetype. I would draft Coleman here if you need running back depth badly. You're contending soon, or if he falls around here, the 13th overall rookie available. I would pivot here if you want elite upside, if you're rebuilding, or if there's still a better wide receiver talent on the board that satisfies your current roster build. Jonah Coleman is a safe, volume-based running back prospect with low turnover risk but limited ceiling. At 202, I got Germie Bernard, wide receiver, Alabama. He had 64 receptions, 862 yards, 7 touchdowns. He also had 18 carries for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bernard is a well-rounded possession and movement wide receiver. He's not flashy, but technically sound. He projects to be a quarterback-friendly target earner. He runs clean, efficient routes, understands leverage and spacing, and creates separation without elite athleticism. His route running and separation creation should earn him targets the right way. He could play slot or Z receiver while being comfortable in the short and intermediate areas. His versatility can keep him on the field in multiple personnel sets. He has strong catch consistency, works well in traffic, and moves the chains. His hands and reliability are traits that coaches loves, leading to snaps and leading to targets. He also has high awareness and finds soft spots in zones. Bernard's football IQ and system fit projects him to be a QB chess magnet. Bernard is not a burner nor a jump ball dominator. His lack of elite athletic traits limits his big play upside. and highlight production. He doesn't project as a target hog alpha or explosive playmaker, capping his ceiling. He is likely to be a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 on his own NFL team and may settle into a complementary role. His ceiling outcome would be a low-end wide receiver 2 if he's in a high-volume passing offense and becomes a primary chain mover. His floor would be a depth or rotational player with low weekly impact. I would take Bernard here if you want safe production, or you're building depth in a contender, or if you have high variance of players already on your roster. I would pivot here if you're rebuilding, if you need star upside, or if you already have multiple wide receiver 3 types. Germie Bernard is a high floor, low ceiling receiver who projects as a reliable but non-dominant fantasy contributor. At 203, I got Emmett Johnson, running back, Nebraska. He has 251 carries, 1,451 yards, 12 touchdowns, and he also had 46 receptions for 370 yards and 3 touchdowns last season. Johnson is a dual threat, space-oriented running back. He has a leaner build than traditional grinders. He offers receiving upside and versatility. His biggest edge is his receiving ability. He is comfortable catching outside his frame, has natural hands, not just dump-off usage, and can line up on the out wide or in the slot. He should have an immediate path to PPR value and stay on the field in 2-minute drills and passing situations. He has a quick first step, hits creases fast, and is better in space rather than in tight congestion. His burst and acceleration works well in zone schemes and spread offenses. He reads blocks well on outside runs and is dangerous when he gets to the second level. With the NFL shifting towards committees and pass-catching backs, Johnson is a modern running back fit. He is not built to consistently break tackles inside or handle heavy goal line work. His size and power limitations cap his touchdown upside and workhorse projection. He struggles in the short yardage and heavy traffic situations. He is not likely to be a 20 touch per game running back, meaning he needs efficiency and receiving to be fantasy relevant. His ceiling would be a mid running back 2 if he gets to around 5 to 7 targets a game and plays in a pass heavy offense. His floor would be a change of pace back with inconsistent weekly usage. I would target Johnson here if you want to abuse PPR points, need running backs with receiving upside, or want a blend of floor and ceiling. I would pivot here if you want a bell cow projection, rely heavily on touchdown upside, or your league undervalues these types of running backs that get their main production off PPR. Johnson is a modern pass-catching running back with strong PPR upside, but limited workhorse potential. At 204, I got Chris Bell, wide receiver at Louisville. 72 receptions, 917 yards, 6 touchdowns last season. Bell is a big-bodied possession and boundary wide receiver. He relies on his size and catch radius over separation. He's also a red zone and contested catch specialist. Bell wins in contested catch situations, has strong hands through contact, and is a big target for quarterbacks. His size and catch radius gives him red zone weapon potential and makes him useful in tight window throws. He could body defenders, works well along the boundary, adjusts well to deep throws, and can make difficult sideline catches. He projects to be an outside wide receiver and red zone target. Coaches love this archetype and will know how to use him. Bell struggles to consistently create space and relies on contested catches. His separation concerns means that his target earned will be capped unless paired with a very trusting quarterback. He is not very dynamic after the catch and doesn't create explosive plays either. He is likely not fast enough to stretch defenses consistently or agile enough to dominate underneath. He may be dependent on touchdowns as well if he can't carve out a wide receiver 2 role for his own team. His ceiling would be a low-end wide receiver 2 if he becomes the primary red zone target and gets consistent volume. His floor would be a rotational outside wide receiver with minimal fantasy relevance. I would take Bell here if you need a wide receiver or need size at wide receiver or are betting on touchdown upside. I would pivot here if you prioritize target earners or explosive playmakers. Bell is a sized-based outside receiver with red zone appeal, but limited separation and fantasy ceiling. At 205, I got Elijah Sarratt, wide receiver, Indiana. 65 receptions, 830 yards, 15 touchdowns last season. Sarratt is a physical possession-based outside wide receiver. His size, body control, and ball skills make him a more alpha-style wide receiver, especially compared to most wide receivers in this class, but he does not have elite traits. He tracks the ball well downfield, is strong at the catch point, and wins through contact. His ball skills and contested catch ability can function as a QB's go-to outside wide receiver. He uses his body well to shield defenders and is comfortable playing through contact. Sarratt has shown ability to handle real target volume and is not a gadget or role player. His production means he's a true target earner, which bodes well for fantasy. His size and ball skills give him touchdown upside as well. Sarratt is not a natural separator and wins more with positioning rather than quickness. His separation concerns create risk since most NFL corners can erase these types, especially in a poor offensive scheme. He is not a big yak threat and doesn't create chunk plays easily. He is not a burner nor has elite movement either. If he can't separate and doesn't have a QB that trusts him in contested catch situations, he can become replaceable. His ceiling would be a low-end wide receiver 2 if he becomes a team's primary outside target and gets consistent red zone usage. His floor is a depth outside wide receiver with inconsistent weekly production. I would target Sarratt here if you want a balance of floor and upside, or are building a sustainable wide receiver room, or you value target earners. I would pivot here if you want explosive, league-winning upside, or prefer dynamic athletes over possession wide receivers. Sarratt is a physical, volume-oriented outside wide receiver with wide receiver 2 upside, but dependent on his ability to separate at the NFL level. And at 206, I got Zachariah Branch, wide receiver, Georgia. 81 receptions, 811 yards, 6 touchdowns last season. Branch has elite speed and is a weapon in space. He may be undersized, but is electric. He's a hybrid wide receiver, returner, gadget player. His calling card is being one of the most dynamic open field players in college football last season. Branch has instant burst off the line and can truly score from anywhere on the field. His game-breaking speed and acceleration can lead to big play fantasy upside and give free points in manufactured touches like screens and jet sweeps. He makes defenders miss in space and is dangerous on screens, returns, and broken plays. His elite open field ability means any touch can turn into a touchdown at any time. His high-level return ability means he will be on the field early, and this increases his chances of earning offensive playing time in general. The modern NFL loves motion and space players now, so Branch could easily be like a Debo Light in at least concept or in theory, or a slot motion weapon. Branch will likely struggle against press coverage since he has an undersized build in comparison to traditional wide receivers. His size and physicality limitations means he will never be a true X or target dominant wide receiver. He also needs refinement in intermediate routes and timing-based concepts. His fantasy value will rely heavily on his role. He needs a creative coach because if he's misused, he will definitely disappear. He could become a gadget player who never earns consistent volume. His ceiling would be a mid wide receiver 2 in PPR with spike week potential if he becomes a 6 to 8 target per game player with manufactured touches. His floor would be a gadget or return specialist with low fantasy relevance. I would draft Branch here if you want ceiling over safety, if you're rebuilding or retooling, or if you can handle volatility. I would pivot here on Branch if you need reliable weekly production, if your roster already has boom or bust players, or if you prefer target earners over gadget upside. Zachariah Branch is a high variance, explosive playmaker with league-winning upside, but real bust risk due to role and size. Alright, I hope you guys like my in-depth analysis on these 6 guys. That's my 201 to 206 in a SuperFlex Dynasty Rookie Draft format. With the draft being next Thursday, like I said, I'm more hyped than ever, honestly, and I hope I'm making y'all get into it as well. I've seen my leagues, a lot of guys are putting a bunch of their players on the trading block this week, last week, all trying to get the attention of their, our league mates, because Dynasty has no offseason, like I've been saying. I love to see it. Don't forget to do that. Don't forget that daily dose of send that trade. Send it. But that's it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, rebuilds fade, dynasties reign.